Hi, so this title and thumbnail might be a little misleading, but it's not. So, I do have to admit though, unlike normal art videos, it is a little clickbait, but don't turn off. I'm gonna explain why. Okay, so normally when people do these sorts of videos, it's their own design processes for the final outcome. And that wasn't the case for this video because it ended up being a collaboration of the tallest human designs by Star Heavenly here on YouTube, but they mostly stream on Twitch now. We've been talking in DMs for like almost a year, it seems like at this point, just off and on. And then we finally exchanged Discords and became real friends. And so while working with them, I always like doing collabs. Well, I like coloring other people's stuff. If you're new to this channel, you probably don't know that I love coloring other people's work when I have permission to. Usually it's my own characters that I've commissioned from other people, or gotten gift art from friends that I've asked if I could color it, yada yada yada. Or in the case of the Zodiac Lord, which me and him do a lot of collabs together on my channel, we're just really good bros, and we throw art at each other all the time for these sorts of things. But I reached out to Heavenly and I was like, hey, buddy, my guy, I was wondering, would you like to do a collaboration? And ironically enough, they were really funny. I guess they had done collabs different than how I had always done collabs. I had always done collabs where it was, I draw something, give it to you, you draw something, give it to me, and then we finish it and see the outcome. I like doing collabs with people who have different styles than me because I think the outcome can be like really, really interesting. Also, I need to say this because usually when people put like collab in the title, in the sense, they expect the other person to have a link to the video, and I don't believe Star did that. I don't think they recorded their process, which is fine. They didn't have to, but I asked if they could for my half, and they said it was cool, so that's why I'm using it here. So don't expect their half. What I'm most likely going to do is I'm going to find it, and at the end of the video, if they don't end up having a thing, like I said, I'll find out with them. I will have the finished picture of both images on the end screen instead of my normal just one. So that way you guys can see how they colored my sketches, because I got to sketch the amazing Purple being a gremlin. And I always liked Purple tallest. I know it might be surprising, but I actually was a really diehard InvaderZim fan. I still am somewhat. The resurgence of Into the Florpus was really good. It made me really happy. But they did go more along the lines of the comic with like pacing and the like animation style choices, which isn't bad. By the way, don't take that as like me not liking it. I loved it and I thought it was great. I love that they made Membrane more of a character in it compared to like in the show. And so I was like, oh, it's cool. Kind of wish more came out of that. And I heard it might not. Who knows? But I know the comics are continuing. And, yeah. But I noticed that Star and my buddy Tiny, they had been doing a lot of, like, InvaderZim stuff on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. And Star one day posted their version of what, like, humanoid disguised tallest would be. And I'm like, hello there. I fell in love. I thought the designs were great, especially for their style, with their style being the way that it is. And so I was like, hey, why don't for our first collab, we do it where we do the humanized versions of your tallists. And they were like, yeah, let's do that. So they did red for me to color, and I did purple for them to color. And I thought it was great. So originally, I did want my sketch to be a bit more over-exaggerated. I'm trying my best in my personal work and not my, like, freelancing commission work to, like, push my boundaries more. But a lot of people who, like, do freelance for a living, you know that sometimes, sadly, you don't get to experiment much with your art. Most people pay for what the examples were provided. So you gotta give the client what they want compared to like really pushing it, because the one thing that I don't want to do when I'm working on a commission is push the boundaries and then the commissioner don't like it, which has happened in the past quite a few times, which is why I'm like, rather play it safe than have to deal with that stress. So Star wasn't like that, but I was having fun having Purple be a gremlin and having him eat the many snacks that he is always eating. And when the show was airing, I always loved, I know it's like silly, but I always loved Purple over Red. I loved their dynamic. I always thought it was funny. And it also, especially as an adult, really did, personify the terrible people in charge that you have no idea why they're in charge, but they are for some reason. It's one of the many great things from that show. But yeah, and then when I started coloring red, I remember that I wanted it to be in my style in SAI, in EASYPaintToolSAI. I know I don't use Clip Studio like everybody else does. I will. I do technically own Clip Studio Paint. I bought it a couple years ago, but fun fact, if you don't follow me on Twitter, my tablet's got a lot of dead spots, like a lot, and it's kind of hard. And I've kind of moved over to my iPad for most of my work. And the thing that sucks though is with the iPad, and I know you can get Clip Studio on the iPad. Don't at me here. I don't want to run it. I just don't. I don't want it on my iPad. I like that Procreate was a one-time purchase, and the fact that I already own Clip Studio, I don't think I should have to pay for the constant one for my iPad when I already own a copy. That's just me. I know people can debate me. I know other people use it all the time on their iPad and they love it. That's great. I'm happy for you. I ain't one of those people. But there's some of the effects in EASYPaintToolSAI that I can only get in EASYPaintToolSAI. And I know I've had people debate me like, well, you can do it in Procreate. Yeah, but I don't want it to take 1,000 years. Oh, sorry. Procreate's a great program. I love it. It's great. I think it's a great investment. But being able to get the coloring style the way I want to, the only way I know how to is on SAI or Clip Studio Paint, from what I've seen. And that was something I really want to do, like having good brush effects, having good, and I know you can make your, I have to keep saying this so people don't say it in the comments, because I know you can make your own brushes, I know you can mess with settings. I don't got time for that. I will fully admit that I'm lazy and I'm set in my ways. And when I eventually do get a new drawing tablet, probably in a few months, like around by my birthday, then I'm definitely going to do more working with Clip Studio, and I'll probably finally do the mass migration that everybody else is. But I also can't get rid of my Adobe because Adobe does too much for me, and so I'm still going to have Photoshop, sadly, because until something else comes up that will run with my computer, because I've had people give me options like, oh, do this, this, and this. Yeah, it doesn't run on my computer, or it costs like anywhere between $200 to $400, and I'm like, I already have that. And they're like, yeah, but you technically pay that more in a year. And yeah, but I get more with that Adobe thing. I don't like those debates. I know this isn't the place for it. I should be talking about the art, but I wanted just to bring it up so that I stop people from commenting it in the comment section. Which me saying it's probably not going to have people comment in the comment section. I should be talking about the art. Let's talk about the art. See, it's been a long time since I've done just an art video. I'm really, really rusty here. But anyway, so my brain. When we were working on it, and I was working on red, I ended up doing color blocking again, which I hadn't done for a long time. I kind of stopped doing it because I didn't know a trick in Procreate, and I learned that trick, and now my life is so much easier. But I was doing the color blocking because a lot of red's colors are, well, red. They're the same types of red. And when you're working with character designs, you want to keep it that sort of vibe. Like, limited color palettes are a good thing. That's something that I learned in character creation, like, as time went on, as I got better. It was like, you don't need a million colors in your color palette. You can have different shades of certain colors, this is true. But in most works, especially in, like, cartooning and less realistic styles, you can get away with same tones. Like, unless something's very clearly different tones, I will use one of my own characters. I'll slap on screen real quick as an example. I'll use my character Tetsu, because she's a good example of this. Tetsu has amethyst, more of the purpley side hair with a lilac eye. Those are two different types of purple, and there's a reason for it, and there's enough of a color variation that those are two different colors. They don't need to be the same color. Now I'll use something like my character Spoopy. Or not Spoopy, I will use Cleo. And Cleo here, granted, she wasn't originally created from me, but she's a perfect example, and she's my mascot. Being more simplistic and more of a monster girl has realistically only about 4 colors. She's got the brown for her skin, she's got the darker brown for her undertones and for her hair in some instances, and a couple of markings, and then she has her color, and then she has the yellow. That's 4 colors. Now, when I also draw her, because she is more my mascot than like Tetsu is, where Tetsu's a character for a story, I tend to put Cleo in a lot of like gothic inspired outfits, because that's the aesthetic I wear in my daily life and I rather enjoy. And so with that, I can have limited colors. I can add a white in there. I can add one extra thing in there to make it all flow together and pop. That's something you want to have that's really nice and cohesive and to the eye. That's something that started really well with their designs for the tallest, was they kept the tones, but they changed them enough to where you had the variation. A very simple and easy mistake that a lot of artists make when they're character designing for the first time when it comes to colors is having too many colors too close to each other in certain areas to where things start to get like, they start to blend together. Especially if you don't do colored lines or you don't break away things. Like, I've started doing this trend. I don't know if I did this in the red picture, but if I didn't, because I'm not looking at the video while I'm recording the audio, I'll put a little example on screen of what I'm talking about, where you don't want to break it up. Something I've recently started doing, as well as adding, like, screen layers? Screen or shine layers, I forget the actual technical term, but I add a little bit of that with an airbrush just to add a little extra pop, especially when I'm doing just a character. There's not a scene going on or a background, it's just a character with a background to it, like by that I mean like a pattern, just to add a little bit of extra oomph to it, to add a little bit of breakage. But a good example of what I'm talking about here is, like, see how the backpack, the pants, and the hair are all different tones, but they're also very much in the same color family. That's something else you want to try to shoot for when character creation. And purple's a lot like that too. And Star added like pops of color to the snacks. And so with red having the smoothie thing, I thought it'd be funny if I made his smoothie like a purpley color to go with the fact that like he and purple are, you know, gremlins. Now, Star and I will probably do another collab in the future. I don't know if they're going to make a video on it. Please don't ask them to make a video on it if they don't want to. They're having a lot more fun doing streams. I know they're going to make YouTube videos eventually, but it's not their job and they want to do it for fun. I just want to point that out there because Star is becoming a friend of mine, and I do see how it does bother them a bit. They constantly get those questions when they've said it. So that's not meant to be like hate or anything or speaking for Star. You can go to literally any of their streams and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I just want to put that out there, so don't badger them for it. But this was so much fun. I had a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, guys, thank you to my amazing Patreon patrons. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe because YouTube is dumb. And if I don't say that, the algorithm doesn't get boosted. Thank you as always to my Patreon patrons if I didn't already say that. And as always, guys, I will. See you next time. Bye.